Planes have been used in combat and for scouting for over a century now, but they weren't always as advanced as they are now. In fact, they are little more than a motor and canvas wings held together by thin pieces of wood. Their bombs were inefficient and dropped by hand, and their weapons are poorly mounted Lewis machine guns. Planes also faced one more obstacle that didn't even involve combat, the public opinion. Most military leaders in the public at first thought planes as dangerous, experimental machines that served no purpose other than novelty. After being proved useful in the First Battle of Marne, planes became a major part of militaries around the world. People immediately took notice of the usefulness of these machines, and young men from around the world started volunteering for the country's Air Force. The Air Force was a very desirable branch because they did not have to suffer in the trenches like regular foot soldiers. Life in the trenches was horrible for soldiers on both sides. Food was also extremely scarce in the trenches. In fact, food shortages were so bad that soldiers often ended up boiling and eating rats to stay alive. The lack of food also left soldiers prone to horrible diseases that were often fatal, such as typhoid, trench fever, and trench foot. Even though the people in the Air Force could get away from disease and hunger, they still faced danger. Their planes had low horsepower engines and rarely went over speeds 95 miles per hour, making them vulnerable to the anti-aircraft guns and even small arms held by foot soldiers. The planes were also very prone to mechanical failure. Planes that were fresh off the assembly line were considered dangerous because they hadn't been tested yet. Even planes that were tested were very likely to develop problems, oftentimes in midair. Despite the many flaws planes had still played a big role in winning the war. The original use of planes was photographing enemy bases and troops movement, but as planes began shooting at people and other planes, this led to a whole new era of planes having dramatic dogfights in the sky. At first, pilots threw grenades and shot their pistols at the enemy planes. They almost always missed. The solution to this problem was mounting machine guns, but a problem with mounting machine guns on the front of the planes would be that propeller would get in the way of the bullets. To solve this problem, Germans invented the interpreter to synchronize the engine's revolutions with the gun's fire rate. With this new invention, planes could now have the freedom to shoot at enemy planes when they desired. The plane has many different types of parts, but there are more important parts than others. Some of the most important parts were the wings, engine and propeller, and the tail. The wings kept the plane in the air and helped balance it. Most biplane wings had wooden spares and ribs covered in fabric. These were external braced with wire and rope. The engine is the energy source that allows the propeller to spin. Once the propeller is spinning, it pushes air back and makes the plane move forward. The tail of the plane kept the plane balanced and helped with steering. One of the first stable planes was the British BE-2 scouting plane. It had a 72 horsepower engine and a max speed around 70 miles per hour. Their original use was to take an aerial photo of the enemy lines. These photos were dangerous to take because it meant that the pilot would have to fly at a slow speed in a straight line, meaning that the German anti-aircraft guns could easily put a shot in the path of the plane. Commander Gardner, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Thanks for having me, guys. My name is Commander David Gardner, and I have been a naval aviator since 2001, and I'm currently at Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma, and I am the commanding officer of a squadron with 550 sailors and 8 aircraft.
All right. Do you mind if I ask a few questions?
Yeah. What do you have?
So, one of my first questions is, from the point of view of the military aviator, how has the aviation evolved since the last 110 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it has evolved considerably, starting in 1903 with the Wright brothers, who first got aircraft off the ground, to the 1920s, where they had commercial aircraft. In the 1940s, they had passenger planes. But today we continue to test and modernize to become faster, aircraft to be faster, bigger, stealthier. We even have unmanned aircraft now, and we want them to be safer and even more capable, so we can have an edge on the enemy.
All right. And then my second question is,
How do you think planes broke barriers in 1917?
So we got to study aviation back at the Naval Academy, and I'll say that the first major conflicts in World War One involved large-scale use of aircraft. So World War One was the first time we really started using aircraft on a large scale, and just in this conflict, World War One was spectacular in that in military aviation because they were just coming into use by the military. And initially, they used aircraft for reconnaissance, and throughout the war, it evolved into fighters, bombers, and even trench strafers.
And then my third question is, what is it like to be a military aviator?
So you see my gray hair. It's fun. That's why I'm still doing military aviations. I love it. It's lots of hard work, but there's tremendous camaraderie and job satisfaction from completing missions and defending our democracy and U.S. interests throughout the world. So it's evolved a lot, and but I'm still doing it because it's a lot of fun.
All right, thank you for your
Yep.
time.
Yep, no problem.
In conclusion, planes have come a very long way since their first use in 1917. They have also become a vital part in most wars that have been fought since then. Planes also gave birth to many engineers that revolutionized the entire world. Planes broke barriers because people thought that the sky was unreachable and that no one could ever be able to fly. But planes proved those people wrong. They were major achievements for humans, and that now they are used for a variety of different things. Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoyed.